Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Stu Gallup, and I lead the commercial printing division at Mark Andy. I will present this webinar along with print technician Tom Potts, who will be running 3 jobs for us in the demo room, and also with the support of Shannon Stamberger directly from the Technology Center, and Alfredo Lopez and Christine Topp, who will be monitoring the chat and the questions and answers here on Zoom. For any questions and answers, please make sure that you put them in the Q&A section and not in the chat. That's what we'll be monitoring as the webinar goes along for questions and answers, and then at the end. With that, let's get started. So if you've watched our previous webinar, you've already probably seen this slide. If you've not watched it, Christine will definitely share now with you the YouTube link in the chat so that you can watch it later. The reason you might be seeing this again is because the current scenario printers are facing hasn't changed much in the past month. Just to do a quick recap here, we see a higher demand for shorter runs. Printers are seeing labor shortages, getting faster lead times from their customers, and definitely a need for differentiation. So what this really shows us is that printers are being required to do more with less in order to stay in the game and grow their business. Traditionally, there are 2 basic ways of growing your business. First, you can sell more to your current base, right? Expand the wallet share of customers you are already selling labels and printing to. And second, you need to acquire additional customers, which can be much more difficult. But how can you do both of those? Well, studies and our overall observations in the market have shown there is opportunity for growth in the print industry. In fact, there's an interesting study developed by NAPCO, Research for Printing United Alliance. After surveying almost 500 printers, results show that 95% of printers in all segments see an opportunity to better serve their customers by providing services other than what they currently provide, which is selling more to the current base. This takes the form of commercial printers looking to profitably provide labels to their customers. It also is label converters thinking beyond the label and offering more non-pressure sensitive products to their existing customers. In fact, more than 1 in 3 printers have already expanded their services, and 39% are researching an opportunity, and that research really boils down to finding the right technology. We listen to our customers regarding what they are looking for when it comes to evaluating new technology to help them diversify their business. And there are 3 main factors: ease of use, an integrated system, and a low investment. Ease of use: printers wanted a device that can be run by multiple people in the shop with a moderate level of training. An integrated system: a device that is designed as one unit to do all the work, so you don't have to work with multiple suppliers and vendors to piece together a solution. And a low investment: printers are looking for low operating cost as well as low capital investment. All of that points directly to a machine like the Digital Pro. Oftentimes, these expansion and migration initiatives require multiple machine acquisitions to accomplish the goal. With the Digital Pro, it's not just a jack of all trades, it truly masters them all. As the latest in Mark Andy Digital, the D Pro is a small format hybrid label press that marries the best of digital with flexo, all with inline converting. It also had options that enable sheet-fed offset work to be produced and finished in line, all on a roll-fed press. The Digital Pro product family has 2 models that we'll talk about: a roll-to-roll digital press, the Digital Pro 1, but the star of the show by far is the Digital Pro 3 you will see in the demonstrations today. As the most adaptable machine in its category, the Digital Pro takes interchangeability to a new level. Unlike other digital presses, Digital Pro has a wide range of materials and applications it can support. But more than that, whether you are a commercial printer or a label converter, the Digital Pro's capabilities enable you to extend what you offer to current customers and to create a new avenue for profit by prospecting new customers with solutions that are other than just labels. Both Digital Pro models are powered by a high-quality Konica Minolta dry toner digital engine. And the engine is what supports all of these neat print capabilities that have been a challenge in the industry for a long time. The big ones being rich black toner, high-quality photographic images, and the ability to print fine text and barcodes. While the Digital Pro was created to support about 80% of the prime label applications, it can do so much more. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that you can use your knowledge, creativity, and imagination to offer customers and prospective clients solutions that they may not have thought about. Or if they have, they probably didn't think about you as a potential supplier. That's again why this webinar is titled Beyond the Label. We're talking about tags, wristbands, paper hangers, brochures, invitations, and much more. Things that every business needs, but sometimes they don't even know that they need it because it hasn't been offered to them. Let's take the times that we're in right now as an example. Businesses need to ensure customers know that the locations are properly sanitized, and you can offer them products to do so. Think about the holidays coming up. You don't need to print only labels and decals. You can go beyond and offer them cards for them to send to their customers, or tags that will be part of the gift packaging. The secret is talk with your customer, understand their goals, their businesses, their plans, and then identify where you can fit in. And most importantly, think beyond the label. Stop outsourcing all of these applications and create a new profit stream by bringing all of these jobs in-house. Not only will you stop leaving money on the table, but you will become a total solution partner to your customer, strengthening your relationship. You will be able to beat competition, secure your customer, and keep your machines running. After all, it really doesn't matter whether you're running labels or tags or flat sheet work or something else, as long as you keep your presses running profitably and your customers happy. So today we have 3 non-traditional jobs lined up for you that are examples of how to think beyond the label. First, we'll be running some gift tags. Second, we'll be running a door hanger. And the final one is some business cards. All of these die cut and sheeted on our device using non-pressure sensitive materials. For this job, we're printing 4 SKUs of a holiday gift tag at an impressive 77 feet per minute. It's printing on 8-point board stock and is embellished with a cast and cure holographic foil. The foil adheres to the label with the high gloss varnish we have in the multi-use Flexo deck, just following the digital engine. A key benefit of this foil is that unlike standard cold foil, you can reuse this material multiple times. While this job prints, I'd like to talk a little bit about the hybrid functionality of the Digital Pro 3 and the value it delivers. The Digital Pro 3 comes standard with a multi-purpose Flexo station for inline decorating, including spot color, varnish, laminate, or adhesives. You can also add a second print station before the digital module. This unlocks an even wider range of applications and enables what we call overprinting. You can see the initial print station printing our neon green, getting set up there for one of our jobs. And the second print station was doing the cast and cure on the other side. So overprinting, it's a platform-controlled registry that enables precise overprinting of pre-printed or converted materials. So with our integrated register control sensors throughout the press, it allows us to register our pre-printed material to the digital, and then register our digital to the second print station, and then all of that gets registered to our die cutting. So it allows extreme precision through all the different processes that we offer. So as we're changing over to our next job, let's talk about the finishing end of the press that we saw earlier. Digital Pro is commonly configured with an inline semi-rotary die cutting module. This allows you to cut varying repeats or label sizes without having to invest in a large inventory of hard tooling. It's as simple as changing over a magnetic die plate when going from job to job. However, the jobs you're seeing today also make use of our conveyor system, which performs basic to advanced roll-to-sheet applications at full speed. This system is completely modular and can be attached to your press within minutes, depending on the requirements of the job. It cuts between 2 to 14-inch sheets in perfect register, and it also gives you the ability to batch into set quantities. You can convey your output into a box or into a shingling table, and that table is available in 4 or 8-foot lengths. It's also portable for convenient storage when not in operation. So in addition to commercial work, it's also good for cut sheet and hand-applied labels. And we'll see this in much more action as we go through the other demos that we're going to be showing you. So a different outside of the beyond the label application that we have is also the banner mode. And this allows us to print up to a 47.25-inch continuous digital print. So this is ideal for point of purchase displays, posters, book jackets, large format labels that you may use on drums. It allows you to take commercial work that you may put on a roll-fed wide format device and also combine it with your packaging jobs and put that on a single asset such as the Digital Pro 3. So it gives you, again, a lot of functionality to do many different things that are outside of what you'd normally be doing. Right, we will start looking at our next job, and the slides for the next job. Our next job that we're going to be queuing up, this is a door hanger with simple lamination that we'll be printing 3 SKUs of. Now, the lamination helps us protect it, and it also allows us to sanitize it, to be sanitized between uses. So again, in this time, a very important feature when you can add lamination and other features to your jobs. At 77 feet a minute, the total run time to get through 1,000 door hangers is just 4 minutes. Now, when you factor in a start of shift, setup, maintenance in 15 minutes end to end, this job will still only take you maybe less than a half hour to produce, fully die cut with the hanger hole. You'll see the job here and the machine running, and you can see the conveyor at the end and the die plate. So what Tom is doing right now is changing in our die. You can see how easy it is. In just a few minutes, you went from one die to another with one simple plate. There's the conveyor system, again, coming in different lengths to allow us to accommodate for the size and volume of your jobs. So that first green section is what takes the die cut pieces right out of the die cut system, captures them, and then moves them onto our conveyor bed for shingling or stacking. All of the other features, such as the slitting module and the others, are moved out of the way since they're not used in this application. We also have a wide substrate range that we can work with on this machine. As you can see, even today, the jobs that we're working on today are printed on an 18 board stock because we want to maximize our time. We're only using one stock today, but you can swap back and forth between different stocks throughout your sets of jobs. So again, the accepted types of materials that we use are pressure sensitive stock, whether they're paper, they're BOP, PET, polypropylene, unsupported papers, as you can see that we use tag stocks, synthetics, PVC, vinyl, Tyvek, and everything in between. Because of our fusing technology and temperatures, it allows us to really be able to use a wide variety from 50 microns minimum up to a 16-point max on our material thickness. And again, the other big feature that we don't have to worry about, unlike other digital devices, is the Digital Pro does not require priming before digital print. So it doesn't require us to have special substrates or substrates with any special surface applied to them. You're taking your regular substrates, running them through the machine, and getting exceptional work right out from them.
We did have a question come in,
So,
if you don't mind me asking.
Okay.
Okay, it's what is the printing cost, and does print charge, is print charge taken?
So what is the printing cost? Yes, so the printing cost will range a bit on the types of jobs you're doing, obviously, and the coverage, but we are looking at another slide I think we will touch on. It's about 6 cents for a linear foot of material coming off of the machine. And we have different programs that we offer that are either a print as you pay, or a print for what you use, or what you would maybe call a click program or something of that nature. So we have a few different options that would be available to you. All right, and another beyond the label type of job that we also have available to us is something like a cocktail menu, that we're using a different embellishment, which is our neon green spot color. So the spot color in our front station that we talked about allows us to print this before the digital station. And so this plays up to the strength of hybrid, because a neon spot color like this is not achievable in process. So for extra durability, we would also lay down a laminate that protects jobs like this from spills. And in contrast to the last job, this one is a heavier coverage, but you can also see that for 1,000 menus, the cost of production is only going to be about $10. So we see right there the ability to use any type of UV LED ink that is available. Doesn't have to be anything special. In this case, it's a neon. It can be metallics. Many cases, this is used for white to lay down prior to our foils or our clear substrates that our customers are running. So it gives us a lot of those options.
I have one more question that come in. It says, can we print on plastic substrate, and what is the, excuse me, I'm going to go backwards one. How do we manage the width of the job? Can we use any width without a waste of substrate?
So the widest material that this device handles is 13-inch wide. You can print narrower substrates, or you can run the jobs obviously multiple up to get the best utilization of your substrate. So you have a few different options there, but yes, you can run a narrower substrate if you desire. There's no problems with that. And was there another question on plastic?
Sorry, there was an extra question. It says, can we print on plastic substrate, and what is the maximum speed of the Flexo Station if we avoid CMYK printing?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So you can, the key, since we are going through a digital engine, it does have a heat fuser to it. So things that are thermal sensitive, you know, are the only restrictions that you would have going through that. But otherwise, there are, you know, clear films and foils and other things that you can run through there. The big key is the thermal sensitivity of the material, since it's going through the fuser is the key there. You can see our job coming off right now. So these are the door hangers. They're going through to be laminated, and that's the laminate that's going over that. Just a pressure sensitive self-wound laminate. Then into our die system, being die cut, matrix coming off, and then right into our sheeter. So you can see that conveyor right there is taking our 3 lanes of the door hangers, placing them right on the shingled conveyor. And those door hangers are, again, are full bled, die cut out with the hole and the slit right in them to be perfed out. So all you do is just pop it out with your finger, and it's ready to hang on the door. think we covered this one, Christine, a little bit about the substrate range. I think we're all set on that one. And again, as we talk about the cocktail menu, this gives us a lot of flexibility, again, in the types of jobs that we can run when we're dealing with the preprint station. So in this case, we used a neon green, but again, options that we have available are any UV LED flexo ink that your supplier can provide. And again, for people who may not be totally involved in label converting today, part of what we offer is all of our production optimization training. And that's what also makes Mark Andy different. We work with you on where to find different inks, where to find different substrates, put you in touch with the different vendors for that, how to acquire your dyes, how to acquire any of your flexo plates that may be needed for these spot colors, and we help support you along the way. You're not just buying a piece of equipment from Mark Andy, you're buying a total solution, and how to use that solution profitably in your business is a real big part of what we offer to it. Another feature that we have is our bypass module. And this allows us, I think a question came up of how fast can we run when we're not going through the digital engine. And here's an option that we've added, which is the bypass module. It allows us to, as it says, pass through or bypass the digital engine. And that allows us to print in the first station if we want to, go up and over the digital engine, and then go back into our full stream of converting, whether it's using our second station, using our die cut, using our laminate or anything else. And so that bypass module allows us to run at up to 140 feet per minute. So when we're going digitally, we're at 77 feet a minute. And when we're bypassing the digital engine, we're at 140 feet per minute. And this ties back to our earlier point of making the most of our investment and finding a machine that can do it all. This allows you to just print in a flexo mode if you need to. It allows you to use the device to make blanks if you need to. You can just not print and use the converting sections of the machine. It allows you to do more intricate work by things that need to be run through twice. You can extend it by running it through 2 times. And because of the registry sensors and the eye marks, it allows us to keep that perfect register, not only from print station to digital and then to converting, but also from run to run. If we were to turn the job around, those eye marks and register sensors allow us to go straight from one job to another, or something that was pre-printed, maybe even in a different method, can be run back through here as long as those eye marks are on the job and available for us there. Again, you can see up top is our lamination roll, and on top of that is a lamination silencer. So self-wound lamination definitely can have a little loud noise to it. And so we've developed a custom designed lamination silencer that affects the release point of the lamination. And by doing that, it significantly reduces the noise of the lamination coming off of the roll. Just over Tom's shoulder, you see the take-up roll, and that's where the casting cure was being taken up. So again, we have our unwind and our take up for whether it's our cold foil or our casting cure or anything else in those ranges. So we can see that Tom adjusted the die, changed out the die, and we'll start moving to our next job. Christine, if you want to take me back to the slides, we can talk a little bit about that. So the next job that we're going to do in our thinking beyond the label type of job, and this job utilizes variable data printing, which is a key advantage to digital. And the variable field in this question is the name on the business card. And the sample package we're sending to each of you, you'll all have a Mark Andy business card with your name on it. So the variability of the Digital Pro is robust and allows you to print multiple fields of variable text, sequential numbers, unique barcodes, and limitless image variations. And all of this is done without compromising speed. So the variable data, because we're printing PDFs, it's any job that you have the variable data on the front end allows you to the limitless possibilities. Now, if you look at this business card job, commercial printers will definitely realize that the many separate offline steps required to produce a business card that is bled on multiple sides and has rounded corners, how many different steps that takes and how many different costs you have involved to get that produced. With the Digital Pro 3, all of this is done in line in a single pass with no additional cost. And you can be as creative as you want with your die cuts. You can be as creative as you want with your embellishments. You could have added a cold foil to that. You could add anything that you like that would have value add to your end user, and without having to do multiple offline steps that you would have in another case if you were to do this in a traditional commercial method. Right, in addition to the fast speed, the Digital Pro is easy to install and run. In fact, if someone wanted to start a business from their garage, the machine allows them to do so. This is validated by our road shows, which we literally plug the machine into a hotel conference room and run with the machine within that same morning. The average cost to print, which was a question that came up, as we can see, is 6 cents a linear foot is on average. And this is based on 100% coverage and takes into consideration everything that you need to run the digital engine. Clearly, as you have unique jobs and unique aspects of what you're printing, we'll work with you to identify what the real costs would be to you based on the exact jobs that you're doing, the exact layouts, the exact run lengths that you are doing on those jobs. But the D Pro 3 is very flexible. You saw us using the conveyor system, but there are other modules that can easily be added to the press, as we talked about our bypass module, which transformed into an offline converting and finishing machine, which allows us to 140 feet per minute. This ties back to our earlier point of making the most of your investment and finding a machine that can do it all. And so as we wrap up here on the presentation, just to recap, the Digital Pro platform really supports your business expansion with the ease of use, the integrated system, the low investment. Again, the ease of use allowing anyone in your shop to run the machine. It gives you flexibility. It's the integrated system with all the years of engineering and design that Mark Andy has in the converting section. We've partnered to integrate into one system that is optimized for you to do everything from initial printing to digital printing to converting, all the way to lamination and embellishment, all in one system. So Mark Andy is responsible for all of it. And not only the system itself, but part of this integrated system is the training and the support that you get from Mark Andy, especially again, as someone maybe from commercial or some other aspect going into labels, you don't know all of the things that are necessary from a production standpoint. And so we work with you, with our production engineers, on how to best optimize the system, how to best lay out your jobs, how to use them properly so that you're providing to your end users the most efficient work. We can see here the business cards coming off. So fully die cut, bled business cards with variable names on them and the rounded corners. And again, those rounded corners could have easily been a 45-degree angle cut if you want a little different on your business card. We aren't using the cold foil, but you see it up there. We could have added cold foil or cast and cure over the logos. Even using the first print station, we could have put a metallic logo or anything else on there. And again, is what you would realize, the many, many steps that would take to be done offline would increase the time and the costs to produce that job. By us doing it in line and thinking beyond the label and using this device for many other things, using it for its abilities in its converting aspect, that's really what allows us to shine. So with that, we will next open up to any Q&A. But before we do that, I just want to remind everyone the whole focus of this, while it's good to think outside the box, you definitely also need to think beyond the label, and that's what we help you do. So with that, we'll move to our question and answer. If anyone has any, please remember to put them in the Q&A section, and we will also have the expertise of Alfredo Lopez, who you may have seen on our new video series, Ask Alfredo, on our YouTube channel. He is one of the lead people that helps answer a lot of the questions and helps our customers with how they can optimize their use of the machine. So thank you very much for your time, and we'll open up for a Q&A.
Yep, Stu, I'm going to go ahead and put this is a two-part question. Does the Digital Pro have other printing requirements like laminating, slitting, curing, and many more? And with this machine, is it a single unit that comprises of other required process? And then what is the space required? And what is the cost of the machine? I know that was 3, so if we want to take one at a time.
Yeah, you said only 2, sure. So does it have other requirements? It's not so much requirements. The requirement, it gives you abilities based on the requirements that you may have. So as you saw with that second print station, we can use it for many different things. We can use the nip in it just for our lamination. We can use it with adhesives, UV cured adhesives for cold foil. We can use it for the unique holographic cast and cure, or you can use it just as a standard print station to load a flexo plate and produce a second spot color. So you have that ability all in that main second station there. That comes standard with the machine. You have the same exact print station in the front of the machine. So again, for other abilities, if you're printing a metallic, which we have lots of customers doing, or a clear label, you can load that print station where we have a neon green right now. You can load that with an LED UV opaque white ink, and that would put a white underprint and then go through to with our register systems, right to the other parts of the machine. So lots of flexibility, but they're not requirements. You can turn on or off as many or different things as you want. In this mode that we're showing you here, we're using the conveyor system. And so we have everything laid out for these sets of jobs to be die cut out and sheeted. However, there are also what's normally on the left-hand side of the press are 2 rewind mandrels, and that's what allows us to take and slit the job into multiple streams and then wind them onto cores, what you would normally think would be more of your label type of work. And so that allows it to happen. The space on this, depending on whether you are going from with the extra stations or with the other conveyors, in some cases you're looking at 10 feet, and then in some cases a bit more depending on what you have. It's also very narrow in the fact that there's not much need of space behind it. So it has a good working footprint as well as a physical footprint on it. I think the last question was the price of the machine, and the value of this machine starts somewhere around $199,000, and then depending on the features that you have, can go up from there. So again, as we work with you on what's truly needed for your business, we can configure an exact model configuration for you.
Dude, that was a mouthful, and I appreciate you getting to each of the 3 questions. Thank you so much. Here's the next one that comes through. Is dual-sided printing possible?
Dual-sided printing possible? Yes, it is. As I talked about, a lot of our register systems and the register sensors that we have all throughout this machine, that's what allows us to, with 2 passes, print on the backside of the material as well. So you would run the material through the machine, the printing on the backside. And again, if that was maybe a 1 color or a flexo, you could run that backside through with a spot color using the bypass module at a very high speed. And then when you turn it around, you would then register it and print everything that's on the face of the item. And that could have, again, multiple colors. That could run through the digital device and then through the die cutting and either up to the rewind for a roll or to the sheeter at that point. But that would allow you to do it very quickly. And because you're using the bypass module, you're not impacting any of your digital consumables or wear and tear on any part of the digital device for that backside printing.
Great. The next question to come in, can you share tooling from other Mark Andy presses, print cylinders, analogs, etc.?
You can on some things. So this, the print stations that we have in here are standard 2200 print stations with helical gearing. So as long as you have a 2200 system that has, you can use some of the analogs and some of the, you can use the Dr. Blade holder, you can use the print cylinders from it, from that standpoint. Depending on what solid tooling you have for the dies, again, this comes with your semi-rotary and a mag cylinder, but there are features that we can add to it to allow you, depending on what type of solid tooling you have in your dies, to use those as well in a full rotary mode. So that would be a somewhat depends on the die, but on helical geared 2200s, yes, on many of the print station tools.
Thank you for that. What is the total length of the press with and without the conveyor? Length of
yeah, that's a good question. I will have that. I tell you what, let's go to a different one, and I will get that exact information, unless Alfredo or someone else may have it on the line. But I'll be able to look that up pretty quickly for you.
Great. So I'll just go to the next one. Can we see inside the press?
Depending which sections, Shannon I know can do some I think she was doing a bit before on the either in the die section, the slitting section. Inside the digital section, there's not much to go inside. We can't really open that up at this point. You can open up the toner drawer, but that's about it. So the toner can be changed on the fly. So it does have a reservoir system, which allows us to continue to run as we are changing out the toner. And then once it comes right out of the fuser, again, using our registry sensors, goes into our second station, which has, in this case, some adhesive in it and varnish. And then our second station, we can also use a tint sleeve mandrel if you're doing flood coating of any tints. And then right into more register sensors, taking us into our die station. And this is our semi-rotary die station. Because it's set up for sheeting, in sheeting we're in full rotary mode, but in any of our other roll-fed scenarios, we have the semi-rotary section. The area we're not using today, which is just to the left, is our slitting cartridge. And this allows us to put our shear knife slitters in there to run our substrate out to different streams. So if you have 2-inch labels, you could have 6 streams coming off and alternating in our rewind section. We also do have RD score blades set up to score the back of the material and take off the waste on the sides of it.
Thank you both, Shannon and Stu, for that. The next question that came in, Stu, is what brand print heads are used on this press and what is the expected life?
So that whole section right in there, as we touched on, that says that Digital Pro, that module where the toner door was, is a Konica Minolta print engine. So this is a toner-based system. So we're not using print heads per se, as you may talk about or hear in an inkjet system. This is using a toner system. So it's using transfer belts and drums and developers to lay down at a very high speed. So the run length, the useful life on those, it depends obviously on maintenance and coverage and many other things. But again, that's all calculated into when we give you a price of about 6 cents a linear foot, all of that is taken into account.
Is it possible to print on transparent material? And if so, what is the registration method for pre-printed material on Flexo?
Yeah, absolutely. It is transparent materials, clear label stocks, absolutely. And again, we have that front station, which is used a lot for laying down white. Many of the samples and our customers that are using them use that for white, to print a clear label, put down white in parts of it, and then use that for printing around that. Again, every step of the way, we have our blue ERC sensors, which are our register sensors, and those read a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch eye mark that can be placed anywhere side to side on the web. And that's what allows it to be picked up, and every step of the way between every transfer point, there's an ERC sensor that's reading that eye mark and is adjusting to get it in register. So if you were to do pre-printed material, let's say you were printing it in another process, you were printing it on another Flexo press, as long as in your artwork on that press was our 1/4 inch eye mark, you would be fine from there. So you can see, Shannon, if you can go back down onto that ERC sensor, we just came up to the view. You can see that's that blue box that's spaced throughout the machine. There's many of them that lead and read our eye mark. We normally tend to place them in the edge of the material, but you can actually place them in a gutter that is in the middle of the material if you had as well, if you were taking it out to the far edges. And there's the eye mark. You can actually see the little black eye mark, 1/4 inch eye mark right over there by the sensor.
Great, thank you, Stu. And thank you for Shannon for that awesome video work there. The next one is the CMYK dry toner electrophotography food gradable?
You know, that's one that I will pass off to Alfredo or someone else if we have that. I don't know if it's direct food applicable, but I don't know if we have that answer. If not, we can definitely get back to you on that.
So it is not direct food grade, but it is safe for most packaging because there's no UV curing. There's none of those chemicals. It doesn't migrate like other inks would or UV inks would. So not direct contact, but yes, for food packaging.
So food packaging with indirect contact, and because we're using the LED UV, there's no there's no venting that needs to happen, and that's also due to the fact that there's no very few, if any, gases that are coming out, and that's what would be causing that. That normally causes a problem with the UV ink towards food.
Okay, Stu, do you want to talk about service options on the Digital Pro?
Sure, absolutely. So the Digital Pro, we have a few different service options of what we can offer. And so, you know, part of what we do is we train you how to do a lot of your own initial maintenance of changing out drums and some of the belts and some of those other things to keep you up and running. And then we have options that provide regular scheduled preventive maintenances. And then we have, we can add, based on your amount of time that you're running, different options that we can come on site every month, every other month, every quarter. So there are a lot of different options. But we work with also with our Konica Minolta partner to expand our network of service capabilities for you.
And then Stu, another one, how many are installed currently globally?
Yeah, so globally we have over 200 devices that are out and running. Again, this unit and this whole concept has been in place with us in the predecessor to this, the Digital One, since the fall of 2016. This specific upgraded model, which offers the white station, the semi-rotary, and a bit faster engine has been since the fall of 2019, so just under a year. So in a relatively short time frame, we have well over 200 units fully operational and producing every day around the world.
Great. Another question came in. When having to change out the toner cartridge, is the percentage of toner remaining shown on the touch screen, including the reservoir amount, or just what is remaining in the cartridge itself? Maybe a question for Alfredo.
Good question. Yeah, that would be for Alfredo or Tom to maybe help answer.
Yep, you do see on the operator interface, it does tell you when you're running low, and then it'll tell you when you're almost out. The machine does have a reservoir that holds a little bit of toner so that you're able to take that tube or toner tube cartridge in and out while the machine is running, so you don't have to stop to add more toner.
Great. Thank you, Alfredo. Another one that came in probably for you as well. How are we saving time of setup compared to a conventional press? Do we need to set up the flexo plate for 1 unit or 2 units?
So the flexo plates or the flexo stations are only used if needed. So you are printing 4-color process with the toner unit. So if your label is a standard 4-color print with a varnish, you really don't have to set up that much. So your time is a lot faster. There's no cleanup, there's no setup, there's no mounting plates. You know, there's no searching for anti-oxes, making sure your Dr. plates are good, none of that stuff. So you literally take the file, tell it how many you want, hit print, and it'll start printing. And it's a matter of fine tuning the impression on your varnish or setting up your laminates if needed.
Great.
Correct. Yeah, that's where the biggest time savings is, as Alfredo was saying, is on a 4-color job. Just that time of mounting and getting in register for flexo plates, where we would be in 10 minutes printing 1,000 finished items, is a massive savings there from that side. Christine, I did have the length of the device. I do only have it with the white station, and that's just over 16 feet. Is what the length side to side is with the white station. So if we take out that white station, I'm assuming maybe that's 4 to 5 feet. So we're about probably just over 10 feet otherwise. I don't have the specs on the conveyor, but it's really the initial conveyor doesn't stick out much further than the rewind. It's really that second step, which we have in differing lengths. So depending which length you may acquire, there's a 4-foot, a 6-foot, and 8-foot of that second conveyor.
Great. So if anybody else has any more questions, again, you can put that into the Q&A panel below. If we don't, we'll give it just a couple more minutes, Stu, as we show some additional parts of the machine. Okay, here's one. Do we lose speed when running white?
No, so we don't lose speed when running the front print station. And that, again, can be white, it can be green, it can be any color. As all of our running, when we're going through the digital engine, whether we're using flexo embellishments or not, we're running at 77 feet a minute. And if we're bypassing, we can bump that up to, again, the 140 feet a minute, and that would be with the white in front or neon green in front, and then also with a second color in the second station if we were bypassing, again, 140 feet a minute. So no slowdown. You can if you need to, but you don't have to slow down.
Okay. And so what weight and diameter roll can go on the unwind?
On the unwind, the weight and diameter roll, so it's a 30-inch diameter roll. I'm not sure on the weight. I don't know, Alfredo, is there a weight limitation on the unwind?
I'm not sure what the number is, but it is 30-inch OD. I'm going to guess somewhere around 700 pounds or so.
All really good questions coming in. We thank all the audience for sending those in today. We'll wait just another minute in case anything else comes through. We've had quite a few. We do appreciate that. We appreciate your time as well as our team there in the demo room.
Yep.
Alfredo and
Absolutely.
Shannon and Tom all doing a great job.
And again, I can't accentuate enough the one person who's missing today and out today is our Dr. Flexo. And again, that's a big part of when I talk about an integrated system. It's not just the mechanical parts, it's the company and the tech and the training behind it. And what Dr. Flexo focuses on is not so much the ins and outs of the mechanical parts of this press, but it's how to use this press profitably and efficiently in your operation. So how best to work with vendors on getting materials, how best to lay out jobs, how best to buy and get cores and use trade shops for flexo plates and dies, which you're getting in an almost overnight fashion. So a lot of that is what we bring to you, especially if you're new into the label converting market.
What design software is used for the layout and job setup?
Sure. This device accepts PDFs. So whatever layout software, whatever design software you're using on your front end today is going to be compatible without a problem because you're turning it into a PDF and dropping it into a hot folder. If you have already imposition software that you're using, you can use that to lay out your jobs from an imposition standpoint. How are you going to lay them out for the die cutting and so on and so forth? If you do not, there are layout softwares that we have that work with the machine. Label Impose is our predominant one that will very easily help you lay out the job. It won't help you create the job, but it will help you lay it out so that it's the best utilization for printing and converting.
Okay. Are there multiple finished core OD options on printed roll?
Our standard is a 3-inch. Alfredo, are there core adapters and other adjustments that we can make on those?
Press only comes with 3-inch core adapter or core. You can use core adapters to go bigger, but I don't believe we support 1-inch ID.
Okay. What is the economic order quantity of labels on Digital Pro compared to conventional label machine?
And that's going, it's a perfect question we get asked a lot. And the answer is, which nobody always likes, is it depends, because it truly does. And it depends on the run length, it depends on the layout, the type of substrate you're using. Because again, if you're using a higher valued substrate, then the waste savings that you have on this so far outpaces traditional that you get an even longer runway on your crossover points. And that's a big aspect of it because we have very little running waste, we have very little setup waste that adds to it. So I would say, not to be evasive on that one would be when we sit down with you to look at your types of jobs, your layouts, we can absolutely get you much more dialed in on what would be a good comparison.
Okay, another one that came in, how about variable information slowdown? Do we need any additional resources, processors?
So the variable data, technically on this device, every digital print is a variable image. It re-images every time. Just when you're running the same label, it's re-imaging the same exact thing. So the machine itself doesn't care whether you have different images or information on every rotation. So there's nothing more that you need on the machine itself. The variable data itself, though, is created, and you would need front-end software. It could be as basic as a mail merge that could make a 200-page PDF with different names on it, or it can be something much more intricate. So, but there's nothing required to add for processors or anything of that nature on the machine itself. That's all going to be on your front end. So if you're doing it today, you're all set. If you're not, we can definitely recommend softwares and features on the front end in your pre-press department that would allow you to do it.
Is it possible to print on transparent material? What is the registration method for pre-printed material on Flexo?
Yep. Okay, I think we may have touched on that one, but yes, the answer is yes, we absolutely can print on clear materials. And again, that front station allows the white, And with all of those blue ERC sensors I've talked about and that eye mark, that's what allows our pre-printed material to be registered, whether it's done on a different process or it's done through a single pass of the machine and then put back through the machine. It gives you both of those capabilities.
Okay, and another one, what is the lead time on getting a machine?
The lead time on the machine, they're very readily available. We're coming into some times at this point as we're trying to finish out the year, and customers are looking to get some tax benefits of getting product in. Right at this point, we're looking at the beginning of the year, I believe is our next opening, but normally we're within under a month for availability. If you're interested in something faster, then it sounds like we can definitely reach out to you right away and get you squared away. If you're asking those questions, we love to talk about it.
Great. Question came in, what is the fixing temperature concerning the plastic substrates? I guess that's two questions. What's the fixing temperature, and then concerning the plastic substrates, maybe secondly.
Well, right. So obviously, whether it's thermal materials or plastics, they're sensitive to heat. So, Alfredo, I don't know if you know the exact fixing temperature or what the fuser is.
So the fusing unit runs at about 120 C. However, it doesn't mean that your substrate, it has to come into contact at 120 C. It all depends on how much coverage it has, how much toner it has to fuse, and also dwell time. So if you start running your press slower, then that means that web is exposed to the material or the heat that much longer. Definitely can't do a thermal or like thermal transfers or direct thermal materials. You can't do any like shrinkable shrink sleeves or anything like that. A lot of the thicker, more rigid films, more in the 6-7 mils that are meant to handle heat, those can run just fine, but it really depends on what your material can take. Fusing unit runs at about 120 C. Does not mean that your material is going to reach 120. It just means, it requires that much for toner to harden or fuse, but it's all based on dwell time.
Thank you, Alfredo. I do have one more that came in for you, and then we'll probably wrap it up here. If I run a job flex, what would I need to do to run those die cut 3-up labels through the engine to add a 2D code with consecutive number to make the label we pre-printed unique for track back with the 2D code?
So this goes to reinsertion to a pre-printed web that's been printed on a different machine. It is very difficult to track material through any press once it's been die cut. So can you put something that's pre-printed here, put the code on it, a random code or continuous numbering on the digital engine? Yes, but then we would recommend that you die cut it on this machine as well so that you don't have any issues with, self-dispensing or peeling off or material weaving or anything like that. So if it is pre-printed, as long as it has a 1/4 by 1/4 inch mark that we can reference for registry, we can insert it through here. And then what we want to do is print the random numbering or continuous numbering, apply a coating of a varnish or a laminate, and then die cut it in line so that you have a finished label here.
Thank you, Alfredo.
But we can absolutely apply the 2D code without a problem, as long as you're generating it from your front end software. So no issues with that.
I want to thank Stu, Alfredo, Tom, Shannon, and our entire team at Mark Andy for this great presentation today. I want to thank everybody that joined us today as well. Please do know that if for some reason you weren't able to listen to the entire presentation, we will share a video of this presentation after. If you do have any questions or you did not get your question answered today, you can email us at marketing@markandy.com. I want to thank you all again for your time today, and I hope you have a great weekend.